What's up guys, how's it going? Today we're going to actually do the install of the Rock Hard 4x4 Patriot bumper with the tire carrier. It's a pretty involved process because there's a lot of little things you have to do, but overall it's not too bad. It's a direct bolt on for a YJ. TJ, I believe you have to drill some holes. So we shouldn't have too much of a problem, and looking forward to it. So just to give you a quick glance of the before. Oh, geez, got all my stuff here. Just a rear cross member. No bumper of any kind. And we're super excited about putting this on it. Here it is. This is obviously the tire carrier. Here are the high lift jack mounts right here and here. This is a provision to lock your high lift jack to the bumper. The CB antenna mount is over here on this end. Here's the CB antenna mount. So what I'll have to do is kind of rough this up a little bit. Make sure that we get a good solid ground. I still might have to run a ground strap to the frame, which is no big deal. So we can relocate our CB antenna. This is the bumper itself. This is a lock mechanism. So when you open the tire carrier, this pin can drop into this, and then it won't swing back on you while you're getting stuff out of your trunk area, the rear of the Jeep. So super excited about this. Looking forward to getting the install going. And check out the shirt. It's one of my new design shirts. It's got this on the front, and then on the back it has our Jeep logo. Not the gear logo. It has a Jeep that's rock climbing or something like that. But you can check it out by following the link below to the merchandise, and I'll also put a link up in the top corner, so watch for it. All right, thanks. Let's get this going. Alright, so I took a couple minutes here before we get started and separated everything out and did a little bit of pre-install work on the actual bumper. So I separated all the bolts, washers, lock washers, and nuts. They were all just in this big bag, which is fine. I actually had to get the tape measure because a lot of these are really close in measurements. So what we have is 1 3/4 inch, 1 1/2 inch, and 1 1/4 inch, I believe, something like that. So 3 different size bolts, but they use all the same washers, nuts, and lock washers. This will be for part of the tailgate installation. This is part of the tailgate installation, or I'm sorry, geez, bumper. This is part of the bumper, this is part of the bumper. These are for the spare tire mount. So you're gonna have one piece that goes into the swing, and then this piece lays on top of that. And then the wheel studs are back here. These are collars for the high lift jack, wing nuts for high lift jack, washers, and spacers and things for the tire swing. So what I pre-installed was the little rubber bumper here, just because if you think about it, okay, this is going on the back of the Jeep. It's going to be pretty tight to get back in here and put something like this on. So I pre-installed that, and this thing as well, it needs to be loose. So it's got a tab on the nut so you can hold it in there. And I just put this on while I was here because it's just easier to get it on now than reaching in here and fiddling around. So that's about as much pre-work as I can do, and basically now I'm going to get my trusty jack set up, the motorcycle jack, and I got 2 blocks of wood to lift the bumper up a little bit higher. And when I installed the Smitty build, it didn't lift it up high enough, so I had to kind of muscle it. But we got this set up, and this will help us get it on. So basically we'll put the bumper on the wood blocks, lift it into place, and get the outer bolts in, the inner bolts, and then we'll keep moving. Okay, there it is with very loosely installed bolts on the outers. And this side was a pain because you can't get to it from the top. So you got to do everything from underneath, which no big deal. Also, this has some adjustment side to side. So make sure you stand back, get it centered where you want. And currently this is centered where I want it. So now I'm gonna get the appropriate tools, tighten it up, and then we will install the inner bolts. The tools you will need are a 5/8 wrench. I use both ends, crescent and the enclosed. 11/16. This is the nut. The nut is 11/16. The bolt is 5/8. And you can actually use a socket for the bottom ones. And yeah, so now we'll do the inner ones, which I'm not going to film because it's the same thing. You're just going to use the plates, which again are over here. Use those. And here's my hardware for the inners. If you notice, it has a little different bolt. This has that serrated, whatever you want to call it, serrated washer type bolt thing. And so that's what goes for the inner. Okay, the 4 inner bolts and plates are in. So the bumper part is officially mounted. It's done. Next up is the tire swing, but like I said, first we got to take off this passenger side tail light. Alright, so the next part, we're getting ready to install the tire swing. And I took the cap off the post. This is a solid piece of aluminum, I believe. Probably. And nice aluminum cap. RH 4x4 for rock hard 4x4, that will go on there. These are shims, okay? Because people run different size tires, they give you shims. I'm gonna start with 3, okay? This can be changed and adjusted after you do this. So what we do, we install 3 shims, like so. Then you put a spacer on, which is actually more like a bearing type deal. So you put that on. Then I'll switch cameras. We bring the tire swing over and we put the tire swing on, and this will go inside of the bottom where the grease seal is at the hinge right there. So yeah, we're moving along pretty well, actually. Definitely taking my time with this. I want to make sure that I do it good and do it right, and so far it's going well. So I'll use the other camera and we'll just keep moving. Okay, so I'm having a lot of issues with this aluminum cap, and this is supposed to go down and more or less put a little bit of pressure on these so that way the tire swing can't move up and down, and I can't get it tightened past this point. Now I can assure you it is not cross-threaded, because when I started it, I stopped, I checked it, I started it again, checked it, and then moved on. Now I was using what I had on hand because I don't have a wrench big enough for this. To say that a wrench would help me get this tighter, possibly, but I don't know. I mean, this thing is about as tight as you can get, and it's not where it's supposed to be, okay? It is supposed to be down and put some pressure on these. You shouldn't be able to, if you'll see, you shouldn't be able to lift these up. because that means the whole tire swing can lift up. Like that. And now that I've done that, I got it off of the thing on the bottom. So anyway, that's the issue I'm having, and I'm basically just gonna move on because I don't have very many other options. So if it's detrimental in the long run, that's the price I'm gonna have to pay. But until I maybe get rid of this and get something else that'll put pressure on that and tighten that up, I'm fine without having this shiny aluminum cap. I don't need it. If I can get a nut that will thread on a lot better than this aluminum will, I think we'll be better off. So we'll have to figure it out. Adapt and overcome. So when you're all excited to finally install it and put it back together, and this is what's stopping you, a piece of aluminum that was not machined to the specs, or not machined correctly to match up with the threads on this. Again, it's not cross-threaded. There's just an issue with how deep these are, or how, you know, these need to be shaved a little bit, or this needs to be ground deeper within the threads. That's the bottom line. There's just nothing, there's no other explanation for it. So it sucks, and unfortunately I'm just gonna stop the video here because there's no sense in doing anything else. I'm gonna put my light back on. I'm gonna make sure that this is latched, and I might put this on maybe like 2 threads just so it stays. Obviously it's not coming off because you can't thread it on anyway. So that's where we're gonna end. Hopefully I'll have an update for you guys in the next week or 2 with this. I'm really bummed, you know. I try to take everything with a grain of salt. I try to let things roll off my back, but this is super frustrating, and it is what it is. So I'll have to wait a little longer to finish this, and that's it. So if you're not yet a subscriber and you're interested in learning some stuff about Jeeps and trucks, and you know, my social media pages as well, I have a lot about auto racing, different types of racing, and automotive news and stuff like that. You know, please hit that subscribe button and follow along. Appreciate if you give me a thumbs up if you like it, and share. You know, share can our videos, if you share them on, say, Facebook or Instagram or something like that, it can reach thousands upon thousands more people, and the more people we get involved in this, the more we can do. So anyway, I hope you guys are doing well. Take care, and we'll see you at the next video. Bye bye.